Good afternoon, HMS Bobcats. Mr. Flato here. Welcome back to another week at the Helena Miller School. Even though I'm not at Helena Middle School right now, I'm at home. Martin Luther King Day, got this day off. Getting caught up on some things I've been needing to do. On this week's Bob lesson and probably next week's as well, want to talk about a book that I read. I actually listened to the audiobook over break, and I have this hard copy for some notes. This book is called The Anxious Generation, and I don't know, it's been a while since I felt this strongly about a series of Bob lessons that I'm going to present to you all here in the next couple weeks. When I reflect on this book, I reflect on human beings and evolution and where we, even the United States, began as a country, different generations, how the United States and all over the industrialized world has really moved to better society. Better society makes society better. I mentioned the Industrial Revolution. And technology and going through the decades. I was born in the 80s, as were many of your teachers. Some were born a little earlier, some were born later. And just to see the differences that have happened in our lives since when I was your age. And I really, truly think that someday we're going to look back, if we aren't already, and say that there was some things that we invented as human beings that were meant to make our lives better. And there's a strong argument that it actually had the opposite effect on us, specifically our young people. So I'm really excited about these couple Bob lessons. Again, it was inspired from this book that I've been hearing about and I listened to, and so many things that have been on my mind, so many things that I've observed over the years in my career. So just like anything else, any other Bob lesson, going to present you facts, going to present you opinions, going to present you data, and you have to make your own decisions on these things and how you're going to use it in your life or not use it in your life. Hope you enjoy this. All right, let's get off and run on this week's Bob lesson, The Anxious Generation, Part 1, How Technology and Changes in Society is Affecting Adolescent Mental Health. And I want to focus on that last part, adolescent mental health. If you are a student sitting here listening to this that maybe struggles with anxiety, struggles with depression, or has at any given time, I really think this Bob lesson is for you. But first, let's be our best at HMS. Let's be Bob. Let's be safe. Let's be responsible. Let's be respectful. Let's be a learner. As we begin these Bob lessons in this series, I want to introduce a new topic that may be new to some of you, and it's something I'm a huge believer in. It's the 10,000-foot view. That is a metaphor. I'm going to ask everybody to take a 10,000-foot view on that. And what that means is take a big step back. Sometimes when you're in the middle of things, you can't get the overall perspective, or you can't see things on a continual or bigger picture level. Sometimes you get caught up in the details of things instead of taking a 10,000-foot view, taking a step back, looking at the whole picture, the overall patterns, trends, and looking at the big picture, looking for patterns as well. So as we go through this, I'm going to ask everybody to do this, and taking a 10,000-foot view on things is also just a skill needed in life sometimes when you're looking at a big picture, you're trying to decide something, or you're trying to evaluate something. To kind of hook you in and to get you engaged in this and to let you know this is going to be something different than me taking my own thoughts and just shoveling them onto you, I want to start with some statistics. I want to start with some statistics taken directly out of the book that compares prior generations to your generation that's going on right now. Because at the end of the day, one of my favorite quotes is, women lie, men lie, numbers don't lie. Let's start with anxiety. It feels like since my career began 15 years ago, it feels like anxiety among adolescents is through the roof, not with everybody, but more and more prevalent across the board. If you look at these statistics going back to 2008, looking at ages 18 to 25, different age groups, you can clearly see that young people and their anxiety has gone up considerably since 2010. And through the statistics, you'll hear me refer back to that number 2010, and I'll reveal that here in a little bit. If you notice, compared to 50 plus or 35 to 49, hasn't gone up nearly as much as it has with young people age 18 to 25, also ages 26 to 34. Let's look at major depression among teens. Again, pretty steady 2004, and then something happened in 2010, 2012, where we have major increases, 135% with girls. That's more than double. 161%, that's more than double with the boys as well. So that's looking at major depression among teens. So you're looking at anxiety and depression that is way up significantly, specifically since 2010. Then let's look at percentage of teens that reported that they're satisfied with themselves. That means they feel competent, they have healthy levels of self-esteem, healthy ego development, and feeling like they are enough. You look, and this one goes all the way back to the 90s, when I was roughly, and many of your teachers were roughly your age. But you can see it's pretty steady at 60, 65%. And then something happened past 2019 into 20 where it just fell off the cliff. Next, let's look at sleep patterns. This is percentage of teens, 8th through 12th grade, who sleep less than 7 hours a day. So you can see that the numbers have been going up, and we know that not getting enough sleep directly impacts student anxiety and depression. Let's look at that evenings out for fun. This is kind of a tough statistics because I know middle school students don't have the same amount of freedom that adults do or older kids do, but you can see over the decades, the amount of time going out, evenings out for fun has declined. Let's talk about meeting up with friends daily, and this is meeting up in person. As you can see, the statistics have continued to go down significantly from the early 90s through 2017, and I suspect that this is still trending the same way. Percentage of students who commented to, I usually have a few friends around that I can get together with. Again, the key word being get together with in person. Looking at teens, you can see that it was pretty stable there up until about 2010, 2011, and then those numbers have gone down significantly again. Percentage of teens that said that they often feel lonely. So we know that teens aren't meeting up as much. They're not going out for fun, meeting up with friends. Many are saying that they don't have friends that readily available to meet up with. And so then we know that the amount of teens that are going to say that they often feel lonely is going to go up as well, because that's going to be the inverse, and those things are going to play off of one another. Finally, daily average time with friends. That's hanging out with friends in person. All ages have gone down, but you see a drastic decline in students aged 15 to 24. So now that you've seen the statistics, I'm wondering what you all think of why do you think this is happening? We know depression levels are up. We know anxiety levels are up. We know self-esteem is down. We know spending time in person with friends and having friends available to meet up with is down. What is the cause of this? I'd like to hear from you. Shoot me a Teams message, shoot me an email for some of you that do that. And instead of the Jelly Bean question of the week, this week I'm going to take the 5 closest answers and I'm going to feature them on the following Bob lesson. Part 2 of this, where we talk about the causes of this, again, scientifically based, not my opinions, and we talk about the causes of this. And then ultimately, like every other Bob lesson, let you all make up your own mind of what you want to do with this information. I look forward to getting your team's messages and or your emails. All right, that brings us to this week's Jelly Bean Question of the Week winners. We have Parker Russell, Hannah Tisdale, Signe Richardson, Tad McLean, Leo Stenquist, and Annabelle Smith. The answer using only 8s. How do you add it up to 1,000 is 888 plus 88 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8. All right, this week's Jelly Bean Question of the Week. What do you think are the causes of the statistics presented in this Bob lesson? Don't forget the team's message or email me. I will take the 5 or 6 most well thought out answers and present them next week. All right, Bobcats, let's make it a great week at D. Helena Middle School.